The peak of the hurricane season is fast approaching, and as we move into the month of August, we expect a big uptick in tropical activity in the Atlantic. Here's what we usually see. The Cape Verde hurricane season usually gets cranking, so tropical waves move off Africa, and they generally develop and move westward across the basin. Some tracks move through the Caribbean and then eventually through the Gulf. Other storms stay out into the Atlantic or track north of the islands, eventually potentially bringing impacts to the East Coast or maybe even Bermuda. Now, the reason why we see this uptick is as we head into August, strong tropical waves leave Africa and they encounter more favorable conditions for development. And because of that, we see an uptick in activity in the Atlantic. In fact, 85% of major hurricanes come from these tropical waves, so that's why we pay attention to them. Now, as we take a look at the rest of the hurricane season, we're here at the end of July. Through mid-August, things usually stay pretty quiet, but once we get to the second half of August into September, we see a big spike in activity with the peak of the hurricane season coming on September 10th. Now, looking ahead at the next few weeks, another reason why we expect an uptick in activity in the Atlantic is not just because of climatology, but also overall conditions do look to become more favorable. The Madden-Julian Oscillation, which is just this big area of more favorable conditions for storms, moves into the Atlantic basin, and usually this coincides with a burst of tropical activity. So keep in mind, so far this year, we've had 3 named storms, 1 hurricane and 1 major. That was Beryl, which was an unusually strong July storm. But notice Colorado State calling for 26 named storms, 12 hurricanes, and 6 major hurricanes. So we have a lot more activity to go. And here at Fox 4, we'll be watching very closely.